Welcome everybody to Live in the 315 with Dom and Curb. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It is a nice, lovely Tuesday night. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays with your guys' family over the weekend. I know I did. My stomach is still full from over the weekend. I feel like I haven't stopped eating at all. But can't not talk about sports. We got to talk about everything that's been going on. The Christmas Eve games, there was a lot of good ones. There was a lot of good games with also with the Christmas Day games. Those three games were great. And all the stuff that was going on. There were some basketball games, Luka versus LeBron. It was a lot of stuff going on. So we're definitely excited to go in and talk about this. We're gonna go straight into something real quick, and then we're gonna go straight into baseball real quick, and then right after baseball, we're gonna go straight into football because we know that's what everybody loves to talk about. So real quick, we're gonna talk about Carlos Carrera. He fails his physical again. Not really too sure what this means for him. He's a very big star in the MLB, but Kirby, especially you, because you're a Mets fan. So like he just what was it, like a 15-year deal or something like that?
It was a 13-year deal that we
13.
gave him at first. Yep.
And
So yeah, we
how
gave
much?
him a 13-year deal. At first he passed. He failed the physical for the San Francisco Giants, so that's why the Giants did not sign him, and then we signed him to a bigger deal. The Minnesota Twins were going to offer him, I think, like a 10-year deal as well. For they can give him even more money since he's already there, but it's just like he's a young guy still. I think he's like 28 years old. He's one of the best shortstops in the game. So even with injuries and stuff, people are willing to pay him because he's that good when he does play. But it's kind of like Odell in the NFL. Like, yeah, you want to give him a shot, but if he keeps on being injured and can't pass his physicals, like, is he worth that money? Is he worth signing to a big deal? I think it's going to get cut down to a 6-7 year deal, 5-year deal, maybe. I don't think he's going to get that 13, 10-year deal anymore.
And let's be honest, he's not going to get that money he wants. Like, he wants like the extravagant money, but like, let's be honest, that injury, like those, like that physical, if you're going to keep failing, you're not going to get nothing. You're not going to get any money. You know what I mean? Especially in baseball, that matters because they're paying you for a long period of time. And this is a long period of time after you're not even in the league type thing. Like there's players that get paid when they're not even in the league. So like they're going to not that I'm necessarily saying they're wasting their money, but they're not going to go out there and put $300 and something million into a player who can't even play. So why am I going to waste $350 million for a guy who's not even going to be able to swing a bat, hit the ball, ground the ball, do whatever, You might be a very great player, but I need you to do something. Like that's why Aaron Judge got his money, even though he didn't finish in the playoffs. He still still a marvelous player. He can hit the ball, he could field it, So that's why you're getting the big money, and he passes physical, obviously. So
yeah, and that's the thing with Aaron Judge is like you're saying, he showed the stats. He played out the whole year, even though postseason he kind of struggled. He still played out the whole year. He's barely missed games. Like Pete Alonso, Aaron Judge, certain guys they barely miss games. The only games they miss is like for rest, maybe. Like where Carlos Correa and certain players, they get this money and they just play half a season, a third of the like they're missing so many games and they're still getting paid for this.
yeah,
That's the thing
exactly.
with
And it's like,
that's
why
the
am
thing
I
with
going to pay you?
baseball.
And in baseball, why am I going to pay you all that money? I need you for most of those games. Like, I don't need you to pay. I don't want you to play quarter of those games. I need you to play most of those games and not and like more than half of those games. There's no half. It's most. Like we need them. You know what I mean? So I think Carlos Carrera really has got to figure out how he's gonna get that money. Because if you're gonna keep failing physicals, you're not gonna get any money. You're not gonna see the big bucks that you want. So he better figure something out like very quickly and hopefully he does, because he's a great player, and every great player deserves to get paid. But if you're injured and you're like not, ready to suit up the first game, then I'm not giving you 13 years for 300 whatever million. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because what's the rest of the team gonna think about that? If you're paying this guy so much money and he's not even playing, and the rest of the guys are like, dude, why am I even playing if I'm making not even close to his money? Like, so then they're gonna start rioting. And I'm not saying they're gonna start sitting themselves or like not playing, but they're gonna give it to the ownership and pretty much eventually leave that team too and want to be traded. So. That's not right to sign a player that won't even play for you and doesn't even help your team out. So,
yeah. So I guess we'll see what the Mets end up doing with that because they definitely have Oh well, that's my dog messing around back there. My bad. But yeah, no, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that situation because obviously nobody's going to want to pay him that amount of money to play. Because I definitely wouldn't be paying him that amount of money to play, especially with that amount of money. You could go get like 2 players who are the price of him that will play as good as him or better. So just they got to be smart about it, especially with that whole situation. Nah, for real, Nick, you definitely ain't lying. I heard something going on in my bag. I kind of moved quick. But yeah, no, that's my puppy being crazy.
Like you're saying, yeah, I would rather have 2 or 3 players that I can plug and play and
Exactly.
maybe not get the crazy hits like he, but as combined, they do the same as what he could have done instead of pay the guy and he's sitting and injured and stuff. Yeah, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like one of those things where I think that they just got to very play it smart with him, and hopefully we'll see what happens with that situation. Obviously, we'll see soon. But we're gonna go jump right into football. This is what everybody loves to talk about. We're gonna talk about this past week, what happened over the weekend. It was really cool to see how they switched NFL Red Zone from Sunday to Saturday for us because all the games basically got switched to where they had like all the 1 p.m. games on Saturday. So it was really cool to see that happen. And I was definitely watching. So it was like 7 hours of commercial-free football on Christmas Eve, and I was pumped. I was sitting there watching all of it. But we're going to go to something that was very shocking to see this team even in the playoffs. I didn't think we'd see them in the playoffs this year. I don't think you would see them even miraculously touching playoffs. But we're going to go right to the Jags. I'm very surprised they even got a chance to even be in this position. Doug Peterson is a great coach, and he's got a decent team. But let's be real, like nobody would have thought that this team would be, fighting for first place in their division.
Yeah, I always thought of them as like a sleeper team. Like you always think about like what teams do you not think will make the playoffs, but have a shot to make the playoffs, like a sneak-in team. And I always thought the Jags were like that team that could. They had the pieces to do it. They're a young team. They've sucked for 5+ straight years, so they got a bunch of great capital in the draft. Trevor Lawrence, and then they picked up Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. Finally got a coach that actually can teach Trevor Lawrence the game. So Urban Meyer just standing there with his hands in his pocket, like I don't know what to do. You're the quarterback, like so. Like he finally got a good coach. He got good weapons, and the defense is starting to ball out with Josh Allen too on the defensive side. So, and the Titans, they're just slipping. I don't know what's going on with them.
And their first round pick is looking great. Trayvon Walker? I think it was their first round pick. Yeah, he's playing great right now. He's looking great with Josh Allen. They're playing very good.
Not as many people are talking about him as much as the other rookies, and they should be.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I don't think a lot of people talk about him as much as they should. Like, especially him doing exactly what he's doing. Yeah, get it. Sauce Gardner's doing what he's doing over there. Trayvon Woolen. Was it Tyreek Woolen? My bad. Tyreek Woolen from the Seahawks. Like, he's doing great too.
Cisco.
Yep. And then I get all those rookies are doing exactly what they need to do. Kevon, Thibodeau from the Giants, like they're all doing great, but like they're not talking about this guy from the Jags, and I don't know why, because he's obviously getting tackles, he's obviously getting sacks. They must be doing something right because they're obviously their division isn't that strong. They're both 7-8, fighting, and the Titans are like fighting to get in. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend with that.
Yeah, I think the reason why maybe people don't talk about this guy as much is I just think the Jags aren't on TV as much as, of course, a lot of other teams are. So we don't really see too much of the Jags. We don't see too much of Trayvon Walker. But the times I've seen him, like on Red Zone, I'll even put just the Jags game on, and instead of any other game, and I'll be watching Trayvon Walker. Like for a rookie, he looks like a veteran out there. He's been Micah Parsons out there pretty much. He reads every spot. He's there every play. Like it's just, and that's what helps Josh Allen a lot. I mean, Aaron Donald, when he had Sue and he had Von Miller, like certain players just help out that better player. So
yeah,
that's just what making that defense.
And honestly, I think the Jags are finally kind of just starting to believe in I feel like Doug Peterson. Obviously, it's his first year with this team. The team is finally starting to trust in Trevor Lawrence. And like, that's a big thing. When you have a new coach, you have a new quarterback, you got to like trust in both of them and believe in both of them that they can help you guys get to the promised land. So it's like, they also had the drama with James Robinson. So it's like a lot of things that they had to overcome. They had a lot of drama with DJ Chark. He was always, iffy back and forth. He was back and forth with the Lions as well. It's just the type of player he is. And they finally found consistency with Christian Kirk. And then like Evan Ingram like burst into the scene. Like he finally is that guy that even the Giants wanted. Like that's who the Giants wanted, was that Evan Ingram. But I think it's just a change of scenery. You're not in New York anymore. It's not cold all the time. You're in Florida. You got different taxes down there, so you don't got to worry about that. You get all the money that you're guaranteed. It's just like things like that. I think that played a huge role with Evan Ingram, and I think he's just like, yo, I'm happy. I got a great quarterback. I got somebody who could throw the ball to me. I have a great coach in Doug Peterson, who he played against and lost against, for a few years when he was coaching the Eagles. So he knows like what Doug Peterson can bring to the table. And I think that the Jags team is finally just kind of flowing with what Doug wants. And now
I don't know if you know this about Trevor Lawrence. I'm sure you know kind of how his stats have been looking this year, but I just want to read off just a couple stats compared to what he did his rookie year. And like, of course, everyone bounces their second year. We were all wondering what quarterback was going to bounce their second year. Out of him, was it Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, right? Fields, is that their second years, right?
Mac Jones' second year, yes, because it's Mac Jones' third year, because Tua's third year.
Okay. So I can't remember exactly all the quarterbacks with Lawrence, but from Lawrence's though, his rookie year he had 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, which is pretty bad. But as a rookie, thrown into a system with Urban Meyer, it's nothing's gonna go good. 3,641 yards, 59.6 completion rate. This year, he has 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So double the touchdowns, 10 less interceptions, 3,749 yards, already 100 more yards, and he still has 2 more games left. And he's thrown 65.9% this year. So he's thrown 6% completion better, which is a big jump.
Yeah.
Double the touchdowns, half the interceptions, and a little bit more yards. So it's just crazy how much a coach and the system and the receivers can fix.
He's playing phenomenal football right now, and that's what I think. That's what it really just came down to. I just think it came down to the system. I don't think Urban Meyer was built for the NFL. I don't think he ever would be built for the NFL.
It's kind of like Nick Saban.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like you're not an NFL coach. You're a college coach. You can work with these kids and get them ready for the NFL, but you can't control 53 grown men. And I just think that was Urban Meyer's problem, and I think that's why he got fired last year, and I think that's why there was like a lot of drama and a lot of back and forth with that team. And now that they don't have the back and forth, and Doug Peterson brought his squad there, I think it's doing exactly what they need to do. Yes, they are definitely missing a few pieces, but like the pieces that they have right now is working enough together to get themselves into playoffs and get themselves in a position to be in playoffs.
Once they get Calvin Ridley next year too, if they'll make the playoffs this year and win the division, next year is going to be a scary year for the AFC South.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say I think next year the Colts are going to really have to worry about. Not only are they going to have to worry about just like the Colts are going to be in there, the Titans are going to be there, and it's the Jags. I don't really think you got to worry about the Texans. I think you got to give them like
they're going to get a better quarterback. They'll help them out maybe, but they need more than a quarterback.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where for a fact that the Colts are one quarterback in whatever a way to make sure that they can stay relevant, because obviously this is the first year the Colts haven't been relevant since they drafted Andrew Luck and they lost Peyton Manning. So this was a hard year for them. But the Jags are starting to build up with the young squad they got. They're starting to look very well. Calvin Ridley comes back for them next year. I think he's not going to get paid until he plays. Like, he's going to have to play first to see how well he does with them. And then we'll see how that goes. But I right now think that the Jags could really, especially because the Titans are still trying to figure out what they're trying to do too. Like, they're not sure with Tannehill or Malik Willis. Malik Willis is still 50-50. He's still trying to learn the ropes in the NFL. He's only had a couple games under his belt. So it's going to definitely be one of those things where it's going to be 50-50 to see what happens with that division. But it's really exciting to see the Jags doing something, because they haven't done anything since Jalen Ramsey and them went to the playoffs and played Brady and them in the AFC Championship. So
that's the thing what they did last time too. They had so many high draft picks. They drafted well, and then they got there with even Blake Bortles, and now they got Trevor Lawrence, a way better quarterback than Bortles was.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have that now. You have a great quarterback. You just got to get all those pieces and make everything work together as whole. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Another team that surprised us over the weekend and played very well on Christmas Day was the Rams. They went off. Obviously, they didn't play whole they didn't play like scariest team or whatever the situation was. Obviously, we know that, but Baker is on fire with them right now. Like they're looking very good right now with what they have. They don't have Allen Robinson, they don't have Cooper Kupp, but like they're still trying to play football. Obviously, it's the Rams. Obviously, it's the Broncos. The Broncos just fired their coach. So, like, what do you think, Curb, with your Rams? Like, how do you feel about them right now? Like, because obviously that's your team. So you've been watching them these last few weeks. Obviously, Baker's 2-0 with them right now.
I think 2-1. He beat the Raiders, and then I think we lost. I don't know. I think we lost the week in between. I believe. But either way, he's been balling out. Came back against the Raiders. That was a great game there. And then this game, he just made really smart decisions. I was watching that game. He wasn't forcing any bad like Stafford at times just forced bad throws. And that's what hurts Stafford all the time. He's got a great arm. We have great weapons usually for him, but he makes stupid mistakes over and over again. So Baker, they just worked it in a system. They told him, hey, don't chuck it downfield unless you really, really see him wide open. But we're gonna make a bunch of plays for you for like some check downs. We're gonna do screen passes. Like they did like screen passes like 2 or 3 times in a row, and it like worked 2 of the 3 times at least. Like
and I think what it really is the coach. Like Sean McVay's more of a younger, trusting guy. Like, hey, listen, man, just go out here, play football. I got your back. I'm enthusiastic. Whatever the situation is, it's just who I am. I'm Sean. That's just who Sean McVay is as a coach. So I think that plays a very big role in why even Baker's playing better as well too. I think Sean McVay plays a very, very big role in why Baker's playing phenomenal football. And like, what do you think? What do you think this means for like Stafford? Like, do you think that the Rams should stick with Baker for next year, maybe, and see how it goes, and maybe convince Aaron Donald, hey, listen, stay one more year, let's work this out, let's go this season, this offseason, get our team back to where it needs to be? Do you see the Rams prevailing with Baker as their quarterback next year?
It's real tough. I personally like. All right, so like if most people are just watching what's going on right now, like as a Ram fan, especially like me, like we sucked the whole year. And we finally did something like crazy. Like it doesn't matter if, like you said, against Broncos, against any good team, whatever. We put 51 points. That's the second most points this whole year, like right behind the Cowboys against the Colts with 54. So I really like this Baker. Like everyone's gonna be hyping Baker train right now. I can't give up on Stafford just yet. Like he won us a reign last year. Like yeah, it was the team McVay. Like it wasn't just Stafford, but I can't give up on Stafford just that quick. Like it's tough, like
me personally. I would say let Stafford retire. Let him go. Let the man. You save your money. You can save money with Baker because Baker's not going to be expensive because he's going to be like, all right, whatever. Let me come back. Like, let me get one more year with you guys. You can save money with that. Bring more weapons in for him. Focus on Cooper Kupp, making sure he comes back from recovery because obviously you guys are out of playoffs. You guys aren't making it, so it's like one of those things where like I think that. This is what I like this obviously right here. This is great. Stafford versus Baker next spring. That would be crazy. It would be crazy to see that. But personally, I think the Rams should just move on from Stafford. Like, hey, Stafford, listen, you brought us the ring. You did what you need to do. But obviously your injuries are still going to catch up to you. So like, let's just let you walk now and you retire and collect whatever money you're going to collect from this so that it saves us money too. Like if I'm the Rams, that's what I'm doing. I don't have any first round draft picks this year or the next year. Excuse me. So what do? You got to save money in some sort of way and aspect. You got to save money. And I think this is the best way to do that is look at Stafford. Hey, listen, retire. Let us rock with what we got. Cooper Kupp, take you got your money. Let's try to figure something out so we can get a little more incentives for somebody. We need to get a running back into the system. We need to get better, better O-line. We need to do something to make sure that like we could become that team that we were when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that was the main problem this year. Andrew Whitworth was probably our biggest loss on offense there. Losing him.
No one even notices that.
Our offensive line, the whole at least first 8 games, we had a different lineup in there. Like there was at least 1 or 2 guys always hurt, so we had a different 5 out there. So when your offensive line, not everyone looks at that, but your offensive line is one of your biggest keys to winning, of course, games, to protect your quarterback, to screen passes for your running back, all that stuff. Give you protection. And like when we can't get a chemistry going and we don't have a star offensive lineman anymore, like that's Stafford was under pressure a lot. We couldn't get Cup would be open probably, but we couldn't find Cup because we're getting
Yeah,
breathed on the neck.
exactly. And that's another thing too, like that brings us up to this, like where it's like, you don't have that protection. So what is it? Like what does it do for what does it do for you? It makes it that, oh man, all right. Now we got to make sure we got protection on this side because he's getting hit from this side. All right, so we move some things around. All right, now he's getting hit from this side, but it's like you can't. It's like something that the Rams just got to figure out, and I think like that's the best bet for them personally is to get rid of Stafford at this point. If Baker's going to be able to get the job done, I think that's just me though. Obviously, you're a Rams fan, so you want to see Stafford there. He brought you a ring that you guys haven't had in. I think it was your first one ever. So it's like one of those things that you're like, I don't want to let this man go. This man just won us a ring. Like, this is our guy. Like, this is the dude. Yeah. So I get that.
No. But yeah, second, we beat the Titans in 2000 or whatever. But it's our. I wish I could keep both. I like how Baker's playing. And I don't want to get rid of Stafford just that quick. But I get it. Like Baker's more mobile. He is younger. He'll be cheaper. If I were me, I would probably rather go Baker at the moment, but I just wouldn't want to be that GM and tell Stafford, hey, you want us ring, but it's time to go. But I don't know. Like, this is a question for you, I guess. Like, do you think if Jared Goff actually won that Super Bowl instead of lost that one, do you think we would have still got rid of him to get Stafford, or do you think we would have kept Goff?
Oh, y'all would have kept him. There would have been no point because Goff was young. Like he's still very young. He's like he's about to be like 27. Like he's not very he's not like old. So it's like that Super Bowl that you guys went to with Goff was what 3 years ago? Like 3 years.
It was like 2019-18, yeah.
So you think about it, it's 3 years ago. That you guys just won your ring with Stafford last year. So something that happened 3 years ago, especially with what the team, Todd Gurley would probably still be there. Like Todd Gurley probably would still be a Ram. He probably wouldn't even be retired from the NFL right now. Like that's like another thing people didn't forgot about, like him. Like Todd Gurley really, I really think that like one of the, I don't know. It was one of those things where I think that you guys screwed up by trading for Goff. I mean, trading for Stafford when you guys could have traded for like a big time player, like how the Dolphins got Tyreek Hill for y'all could have got a receiver. You know what I mean? Like DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Like got D-Hop or just something like that to like, okay, now Goff, you got no excuses. You got to ball out. You got Cooper Kupp, you got this guy, you got that guy, you got this defensive player. But like those are the things I think that play a huge role in it. And now you guys don't got those first round picks. So it's like kind of tough to see what you guys are going to do. Your guys' offseason is going to be the most interesting offseason to me because of not having no picks, especially like with my Fins. I think we're going to have a very interesting offseason as well. We have no first round picks either. So it's going to be insane with the Broncos.
But you get the cap room. The Rams barely have cap. We have
and I think same with the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos have the cap room. So it's going to be very interesting just to see what happens with your team because obviously it's like Stafford or Baker, or is Stafford going to go to retirement because of the injuries? And, that's the thing with he's getting how many concussions, and now he's just got another one because this year he didn't have that protection like you were saying on the O-line.
And we were talking about like Drew Brees and Brady and stuff like that. Like Drew Brees has a family where Brady, he has a family, but he's not with Giselle anymore. But like Drew Brees' family talked him into like kind of retiring, where I could see Stafford's family like, hey, you did what you had to do. You won a ring. Like it's time to hang it up now. You got that, that accolade. So you don't really have to do any more.
Exactly. So it's like one of those things where I think like it's going to be up to Stafford. Honestly, it's not going to be up to the Rams. It's going to be up to Stafford. And like that head injury is very serious. And this brings us on to our next topic with Tua. What is it? I'm not really too sure what's going to happen with him. I've been seeing a lot of speculation, I guess, like during the game, right before halftime, he must have gotten hurt or injured with a tackle. And he said that he didn't really feel it until the end of the game. Like he didn't really I guess, or whatever. And they're trying to say like, once that happened, that's when he started making his mistakes on the field. He threw the 3 interceptions, and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what this means for Tua. Like I'm gonna go real quick, and then I'll let you.
Yeah, no, it's your team. Yeah,
No,
talk
that's cool.
about it.
No, that's what I said. I'm just gonna go real quick and let you go after.
Mm.
With that being said, with Tua, I just think personally, Tua is gonna have to figure out where his future lies. Do you wanna be a guy that's gonna keep getting hurt and keep getting injured and still whatever the situation is? You got don't get me wrong, he was playing great. He was playing phenomenal football. We still were in that game. We lost 26 to 20. We were still in the game, and he threw 3 picks in a row. Like legit threw 3 interceptions, and it wasn't like he threw interceptions because the defense read the play and they're like, "Oh my god, they did so." No, it's because he physically threw the ball to the guy. Like, here you go, take this ball, you can have it. Here's your Christmas present. Here you go. But it's like one of those things where it's like I'm just worried because how many more hits is it going to take? You know what I mean? Like to seriously, or he's getting hurt. Like he's looking elite, but it's like, do we want to see him get hurt again to the point where he's wobbling on the field? You know what I mean? Like that's what it really comes down to. But what do you think about the whole situation with Tua and everything?
Yeah, because you just said wobbling. I'll continue on that. You don't want to be seeing waddling and wobbling on the field. You just want to be seeing waddling in the end zone. But make a joke about concussion. I'm bad.
No, you're
yeah. But Tua, like he's been through so much this year, and even that you guys took the risk of drafting him when he was in college. He had injuries from college that people were like, I'm not sure if he's gonna go first round anymore, or he's gonna be, he could have been number 1 pick overall if he wasn't injured in college, over Joe Burrow instead, because Joe Burrow showed up that year, of course, but Tua before that year was outstanding, and he just kept on getting injured, of course. So like I don't know, like it's tough. Like it's like you and the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is hurt, but he's not as hurt as Tua either. Tua's already been through it, and you guys been almost like penalized for putting him back in the game. Those picks, like one of them might have been a good read, I guess, but like he didn't see the defender. He saw Gesicki, and the guy he threw it in triple coverage. That was a bad throw, anyways. But and then I saw that video you post on Facebook too about him like saying, oh, like pretty much his excuses, or just saying like what he saw there, and he just overthrew the guys or whatever. And he almost cost me a fantasy matchup with bots. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just tough, man. Like, you guys are trying to fight for the playoffs. You should have been already in the playoffs, clinching it by this. You should have won this. You guys scored 20 points in the first half, and the second half, turnovers, and just I don't know what happened. Like, you just guys froze up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was like turnover after turnover. Our offense wasn't doing anything after that. We couldn't score. We couldn't, get the ball going. And obviously, I think Mike McDaniel went away from his game plan. We were running the ball really well. We were running the ball very well, and he stopped doing that. So it's very and that's why I posted the other day on Facebook. We need our DBs to play a little bit better, and we need Mike McDaniel to be more of a consistent play caller. Like he's just not consistent. He literally just I don't know how to. It gets me so mad because he doesn't do what he needs to do. Like he, as a coach, you in situations like that, especially against a team with Rodgers, no matter what, it's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. You gotta play it smart. I ain't gonna lie, we took Aaron Jones out of the game, but you kept Rodgers in the game. You didn't take him out of the game. You left him in the game, and then with those 3 turnovers, that's how you keep Rodgers in the game. Give him turnovers, let him do something with his offense. As long as Rodgers is on the field, something's gonna happen with the team, So yeah, I think the Dolphins really botched this one.
He didn't even have a great game either. He threw 240, 2 touchdowns. He did. The thing is, they didn't turn over the ball. You guys turn over the ball, and one time their kick return, they kick returned it all the way to the 6. Yeah, you guys stopped them for a field goal, I think, in that time. But the kick return, the turnover differential, that was the key to the game.
And Raheem Mostert fumbling the ball right before the halftime. We get the ball back and he fumbles right before half, and they get to come down and they score a touchdown. They don't even kick a field goal. They score a touchdown. So it's things like that makes the Dolphins not play great. And I don't know what it is, but hopefully we could turn it around, and hopefully we could keep our spark going because we're, doing so well. But it's one of those things that definitely got me nervous with them because we have the Bills in our division. We have the Chiefs in front of us. We have the Ravens. We got the Chargers. You have, teams that are built for the playoffs. We're great, but we're our team isn't built enough, I think, to get to that next stand. Hopefully they prove me wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I would love to be wrong. I want to see my team make it. I want to see them go far.
Even more recent, I'm not saying they're going to go far. They might win one game or whatever, but the Jaguars right now might be built actually better than you guys. Like, I don't know.
Like their team is just playing better right now. Like all around, their team is just playing better. Our team,
you guys have lost 4 straight, and they've won like 4 or 5 straight, or so,
like we were 8-3, now we're 8-5, like 8-7. It's like, come on, man, we got to start turning it up, and hopefully we can get it together.
But the Patriots this week is gonna be a tough one, especially Tua.
Yeah, especially because we really need this dub, and the Patriots aren't gonna let us just get the win. So we got to beat them, and we got to win our next 2 games to have that momentum going into the playoffs. We need it. We need this dub. We need to clinch playoffs. All these other teams are clinching playoffs. I want to be one of the teams that are part of that, because I want us to be there. It's been a very long time since I've heard the Dolphins clinch the playoffs. Like, we need to get it going. Like every team is starting to clinch. We got to clinch. So hopefully, hopefully we can get it done this weekend with the Patriots. We beat them. That'd be great. We've only got 2 losses in our division. We lost to the Jets and we lost to the Bills, but we've won every other game. So like, we just got to start winning. We got to win the rest of these games. We got to get it going, because we could maybe be like the Giants that one year, be a wild card team, but just miraculously get to the end. Like, it's football. Anything could happen in football. So I'm not doubting my Fins. Fins up, baby. Let's hopefully they can get it going. And we're gonna, talking about a team that get it going. We're gonna go right. We're gonna go right to the Cowboys and the Eagles. This is every game that everybody loves to talk about. Everybody loves to hear about these guys. Who doesn't? It's the Cowboys versus Eagles. The Eagles, I still think they look great. I don't know. I still think they look great. They had a few bad, mistakes. Obviously, Gardner Minshew still new to the system, whatever the situation is, but I think they're still good. Like, the Cowboy fans are happy and they're like, "Oh, Dak is got a record with this and that." I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care what he's got. Dude don't got no rings. Don't do nothing in the playoffs. I don't care what his record is against the Eagles. What's his record in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Not nothing. I don't care about his record against the Eagles. Like, you just slid by against a Gardner Minshew. Like, they just slid by with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback.
It was a back and forth game, and whoever pretty much had the ball last, that's who was going to win the game.
And the Cowboys had the ball last.
Yep.
And it was just one of those things where I think Gardner Minshew and the Eagles I think Gardner Minshew, like, it's not that he choked. I think his team kind of let him down also around him. I think the Eagles should have been playing a lot better. I think they should have did a little bit better of play calling, because I think A.J. Brown should have had the ball in his hands a lot more. And I also think Miles Sanders should have had the ball in his hands a lot more. And also Gardner Minshew was like very not athletic at all. Like, there was times where I'm like, oh, he's about to get away. He was getting tackled. I'm like, yo. That's
why he's called Uncle Rico. But Devontae Smith showed up at least. Like, he's been, like, that offense is weird. Like, A.J. Brown is always the most consistent one usually, but when you have him, you have Devontae Smith, you have Goddard back now. And Goddard, for his first game back, had like 67 yards, so he did pretty decent as well.
Yeah, he played very good too.
Miles Sanders has to get into the game. I think they got to use like their other backs too. Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell. Like, they got to make a variety. You can't make it.
That's where I think that's where they struggle, because they're trying to fit all these guys in. When you might as well just let Miles Sanders just go off, It's like, just let him be the lead back. Let him do what he's got to do. Kenneth Gainwell, like, oh, yo, he's tired right now. He just ran like 5 plays in a row. All right, now you come in and do a couple plays for him so he gets his breather. Then he gets to go back out there and does what he does what he does again, I think that's how they got to start playing Miles Sanders, especially with Jalen Hurts out right now. Miles Sanders, I feel like, should be touching the ball more, because he's a better runner than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, and the Eagles are always, like, before they had A.J. Brown, they were always a run team, and they still kind of are. Like, they're always one of the best running teams. They got one of the best offensive lines. That's something we got to talk about as well. I think Lane Johnson's out for at least the last 2 games.
Yeah, I was about to say he's definitely out for the last 2 games of the season.
He said he should be back for the playoffs, but, because they'll probably have a bye most likely. But, this is a question for you too, is like, if Jalen Hurts, doesn't go this week, like, they're, of course, like, say they win this week, they're going to clinch the 1st seed. So he's going to be on a bye, and then, like, so he's going to have like 4 weeks off before he plays. You think they should play him at all, like, either this week or next week if they can?
To be honest, if I'm them, I think Gardner Minshew plays this week. He's got to he's got to just clinch it. He's just got to clinch it. He's got to get first place. He's got to win it. They win this week. I think next week you put Jalen Hurts in for at least a drive. Like do it like preseason. You give him like a drive or two just to make sure he stays in, in a rhythm. And then you're like, all right, Hurts, you're in rhythm still. You're good to go. Take a seat. Gardner Minshew, go back in, finish the game for us. And I think that's how they got to do it. I think they got to do that with a couple other players. Me personally, I'd be doing that with him,
Sanders, AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. I would do that with a bunch of people, even some of the linemen, like just because like you just lost Lane Johnson.
Yep.
So I think this is your chance to like
Jason Hargrave a little bit out there.
The Eagles have to win this weekend. If they do not win this weekend, it's going to be a tough playoff for them. That's just me though, because I think it's going to be very tough for them to do anything with a Jalen Hurts who is tired or a Dallas Goedert who is a little tired, or it's just one of those things. I think that they are definitely going to have to figure that out, because CJ Gardner-Johnson's supposed to be coming back too this weekend because they play the Saints this weekend.
Yep.
So number one, they want this W to clinch. Number two, they want this W so they can have a better playoff pick. So the Eagles better go out there and ball out. And number three, they just lost to the Cowboys, so they're about to take all their anger out on the Saints.
Yeah, and they're in Philly. Like they got to show all right. How much you want to bet Meek Mill will be at this game?
He better be. I better hear dreams and nightmares coming from the crowd. I better hear something. I better hear something because the Eagles need it. They need this dub. They to make sure that they're solidified and they're fine and they're good to go for the playoffs. They need this win, and I really think that next week they should treat like a preseason game. Let some of my starters get in there, get some reps, get them going, make sure that they're still good, because you're going to have a bye week. You're not going to be playing in the next few weeks, so you need to make sure that your guys are ready to go. Even in practice, make them hit each other a few times, make them do something just so they can keep themselves going and keep that adrenaline rushing, because when they get into the playoffs, whoever they play isn't going to sit there and just they're there to beat you guys because you're the number one team. They don't want to see you win.
Yeah, so this is a question for you as well, because I just looked them up too. So say if the Eagles win this week and they clinch it, you think so they'll play their starters a little bit. You think they're going to ease the break because they're going to be playing the Giants, and say the Giants don't win this week and they got to win the following week to clinch the playoffs. Do you think the Eagles will be like, you know what, we're going to still go out because we don't want one of our divisional opponents to make the playoffs? Or do you think
that's what I was thinking too?
Because if the Giants win this week, they clinch it. So that scenario will be out of next week could be whoever wins. Yeah. But yeah, if the Giants lose this week, then they got to win next week to make the playoffs. So
yeah, and if the Giants lose this week, the Eagles aren't going to let them in. So even if the Eagles say, "Yo, Jalen Hurts, you're going to get some reps," they can still win with Gardner Minshew. They just got to play ball. You just got to play ball. I think that's what the Eagles are going to look at and be like, "Yo, we're going to make sure we end your guys' season right here, right now. We don't want to play you guys in playoffs. You're a divisional rival. Get out of here. We know what you guys are about. Y'all caught the lucky thing on the helmet. Y'all beat Brady twice. Y'all got to go. We don't want out here."
Well, especially say if they beat him again or whatever. Even if they don't beat him, they face him twice. You don't want to face a team 3 times in a year. It's always tough to beat.
And that's where I think that's where it's going to be even bad for the Cowboys. Them and the Cowboys, they're 1-1 against each other in the season, and say they play each other in playoffs. I think that's going to be a crazy game, but I think it's going to go the Eagles' way just because it's going to be home with Philly.
Yeah, because right now, if we look at the playoffs picture, all 4 NFC East teams are technically in right now. So
yeah,
but most likely it's going to be 3 of them or just the Cowboys and Eagles. Giants and Commanders, they still got to fight for it. Like I said, the Giants got to win this week. And there's a couple teams still hunting for it. The Packers, the Lions. The
Packers and the Lions right now are fighting. They're fighting each other.
Seahawks, yep.
They're definitely fighting. Like I said, it's going to be a very interesting last few weeks to see what happens with that. And I'm like, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what happens because I want to see what they're going to bring to what they're going to bring to the table, because obviously the Eagles need this W. To make sure that they clinch, the Cowboys got to win, the Giants got to win, and the Commanders got to win. It's very tough right here. And like I said, the Packers want to lose. I mean, the Packers want to win, and the Lions want to win.
Yep, and they faced each other the last week of the season too.
And I was just about to say, and they faced each other. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. I can't wait to see. I just can't wait to see what happens with it, because I know for a fact that it's definitely going to be like a roller coaster at the end of the season with the NFC. The
So
AFC is kind of like who's in it already. Like the Bills clinched, the Bengals clinched, the Ravens clinched, the Chiefs clinched.
the Chargers now.
And now the Chargers are about to clinch. So it's like you
It's just
basically already
Jaguars
got
and
5
Dolphins,
teams in the AFC.
But yeah,
So,
I mean the Commanders and Giants, they both played winnable games this week. Giants, like I said, they win their end. They play the Colts this week at home, so they should win that one.
yeah.
But it's NFL, like you said, so anything's possible. And then and Nick Foles is probably starting again. So facing the Giants, like he used to play for the Eagles, so maybe he has some back end, like he knows how to beat the Giants. And then you get the Commanders facing the Browns. Commanders are home too. They're technically the better team, but Browns could be that upset team still too. So it could go either way.
And that's why I said it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the end of the year. I'm excited. This is the best time of football because you get to see who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. But hey, this is why we're here. This is why we talk about sports on live in the 315, because we love to hear about all the excitement and everything that's going on with it and get to see who gets to get these W's, because at the end of the year is where it really matters. Playoffs, baby. Playoffs. So we're going to go on. We're going to move on to college football real quick. It's going to be our last little segment that we talk about before we end the night. To just make sure that you guys follow us again, like always. Make sure you guys are commenting, you guys are liking, you guys are on the page doing what you got to do. Me and Kirby are actually going to make a post. We want to get you guys involved. We want to see what fans want to give us their segments instead of me and Kirby always coming up with a topic to talk about. We want to get some topics from you guys. So be ready for that. And this is our last topic of the night. This is an interesting one. This just happened recently today. Congratulations to Ed Reed, a Miami alum, Super Bowl winner, Hall of Famer, one of the probably top 5 safeties in the league ever to play the game. Fantastic. Congratulations to him on getting his first head coaching job. That's awesome. Congratulations to you, Ed Reed, and to the Reed family. I know he's been working hard for this because I know he's been back and forth with coaching with the Miami team, I heard, and helping out with other colleges or whatever. So this was definitely an exciting move for him. What do you think, Kirby, about the move for Ed Reed and being a head coach?
Yeah, I really like it. It's kind of like Deion Sanders, when he started coaching for Jacksonville State and then now he's at Colorado. I could see, Ed Reed moving from this team, Bethune Cookman, which if most of us, even us, didn't know really this team before we even looked it up. This is an FBS team, so it's a lower Division I team. They went 2-9 this year, so they really needed some kind of spark in their locker room, and getting a Pro Bowl, one of the best, like you said, safeties ever to play the game. Maybe the best safety, top 3. He's up there.
Yeah, that's why I just had top 5.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players. So maybe I'm a little bit more biased, but I mean, always, he's just one of those guys. He's a ball hawk. He just he was everything for that Ravens team with Ray Lewis back then, and to bring that environment to this team, I'm sure they know who he is. They'll listen to him more than some random coach coming in like, hey guys, this is Joe Smith. What this is Ed Reed. Oh shit, Ed Reed's coming.
You got Ed Reed.
Yeah.
Watch out. So I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna see a lot of recruits probably change ways and which path they kind of take, and it's only because it's the same thing with Deion Sanders. He just left Jackson State and went straight to Colorado. What happened? He's getting a lot of people to go there. It's just what's gonna happen. Why not? You're a top 5 recruit, could go to any school you want to, but you could go to Nick Saban or you can go to Deion Sanders. Nick Saban, yes, has won a lot of national championships, but he has never won a Super Bowl. Deion Sanders was the number 1 pick of the draft. He physically went into a meeting and asked the guys, he said, what pick are you? They said, oh, we're pick 8 or something. He goes, oh, I ain't about to do this. I'm not even gonna be there by the time you're pick. So that attitude he has is different from a Nick Saban. And that's what you're going to get with Ed Reed. Yep. You're going to get a different attitude. You're going to get players who come there. I don't know if people ever really watch and pay attention to what Deion Sanders was doing there, but he was bringing guys like Terrell Owens there. He was bringing Brian Dawkins there. He was bringing a bunch of different people there just to come talk to these kids. And what do you think Ed Reed's going to do? He won a Super Bowl ring with probably top 5 linebacker at Ray Lewis. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's my number one, but
yeah, but it's not even, you know what I mean? But it's like he played with guys who were ballers. He knows guys who are ballers. You don't think he talks to Troy Polamalu still to this day? You don't think he talks to Brian Dawkins, or you don't think he talks to any of these guys that are defensive studs? Like, hey, yo, listen, come here. I'm about to, coach down here at this little D1 college. Come help me out. He's gonna get that, and he's gonna get the recruits.
I'm sure he's gonna get a lot of players from Miami as well that he played with in college. Like, that team was loaded back then. So, yeah, like you're saying, it's a new environment. It's a new thing. I could see a lot more players doing this eventually down the road, coaching. Like you said, lower schools, because they might not get the chance to get in a top school like Alabama and Oregon and LSU and, like, stuff like that. But start like this and, like, bring them from 2-9 to 9-2 or whatever, and then
When you think about it, look at Deion Sanders. Ed Reed's gonna start here. Doesn't mean this is where he's gonna finish. Yep. Like, he can start here at this school and then he can finish at a different school. It's just one of those things that you got, like, I think that's definitely got to pay attention to, because now, like, Deion Sanders, you got some comp. Ed Reed some comp. No matter what, you're Deion Sanders, you're prime time, you're that dude. We know who you are, but you still have a little bit of competition with a guy like Ed Reed, because Ed Reed can bring recruits there. He's Ed Reed. It's like the same thing with Memphis in college basketball with Penny Hardaway.
Yep.
He gets the recruits because of who he is and who he played with and what he's done for the league, for the NBA, for the college. He's gonna get top 5 recruits. He's gonna get the best recruits, because these guys are like, why go to a coach who's never even played the game? Like, never even got to talk, not even talking in the locker room. But I can go play for a guy named Penny Hardaway, who physically played with probably one of the most dominating centers of all time. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Ed Reed, and it's the same thing with Deion Sanders. Why go play for Nick Saban when you could go obviously play for Deion Sanders, who physically is a Super Bowl winning guy, top corner in the league, probably the most enthusiastic guy in the world when it comes to sports. It's just one of those things. And yeah, obviously he's no Jeff Saturday. And honestly, let's be real, Jeff Saturday got handed that job because of who he is. And maybe he might, and like I said, he's not going to keep the job. He shows that he's not a head coach. He shows that he doesn't really have the head coach instinct in him. Maybe they give him a chance, but I don't see him lasting as a head coach in the NFL.
But yeah, who knows if John Harbaugh has been at the Ravens for so long and stuff, like how many years he's got left. Like, who knows if by the time Ed Reed goes with Betfield Cookman,
I was just about to say that,
LSU or Miami or whatever, to, like, maybe eventually he'll coach the Ravens when he's, like, around 60 years old or 55, whatever, like at 10 years or something. Like,
but like, and that's the thing, that people got to pay attention to. Deion Sanders started it off small, and now he's somewhere big. And now he's somewhere big to go somewhere bigger. It's literally just a ladder, especially because of who he is and what he does. He's a coach. He's not a coach. He's a player first. So he now has to show he can be a coach. All right, you did what you did with Jackson State. All right, that was a low D1. Now can you do it with a higher D1 and a higher division, where you're actually going to be playing some D1 schools that are going to matter? These games are going to matter. So
it's another thing, like in NBA, like, a lot of these coaches, like Jason Kidd, he's the Mavericks coach. Like, Luka listens to him. You got Doc Rivers as a coach too, even though he wasn't a great player, but, like, he was an okay player. Like, he's a coach. Tyronn Lue's a coach. Like, eventually they worked their way up too. They didn't start right there. They were in college or whatever as well.
And that's the thing. Like, Ed Reed starting somewhere. So watch, he's gonna. Like I said, he's gonna bring in some guys. Now that some of these kids know, they're like, and honestly, people fail to realize there's a lot of kids in the transfer portal right now, because it's one of the biggest things you could do in college right now. You could put your name in and transfer and still play that year. There's no sitting around no more. You don't have to sit and wait another year. You could just go, and just see what happens with it. It's just one of those things where it's just gonna be interesting to see with Ed Reed and see what he does. And I can't wait to see what happens with him, because I think he's going to, I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change the atmosphere, just like Deion Sanders. Yep. When you go somewhere with a guy like that, it just changes the atmosphere. It depends on who you are. It depends on what you do. We know who Deion Sanders is. He's prime time. He physically went into Colorado and told the kids, you guys might as well pack your bags, because I already brought my luggage with me. Like, and that's some real stuff. That's real. That's really coming from like a real person. Like, this is who I am on primetime. I'm gonna keep it real to you. I'm
if you don't
bringing the
like
show.
it, leave. There you go.
I'm bringing the show. If you don't like the show I'm bringing, go somewhere else because you're not a part of this show. I'm primetime, and I'm here to get people in the stands and make money and do what I got to do. And the Colorado was smart.
He didn't get where he was, without saying that kind of stuff. Like he was not just in football; he was in baseball too. He was I think a first round pick in baseball or something like that as well. Like he played a baseball game like the same day or the next day as a football game. Like
no, he played it in the same day. He played it in the same day. Played a football, then played baseball later that night. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like people don't even get it that it's just like people don't get it. Like and it like right here, he says, who would be a greater motivator, Deion or Ray Lewis? That's a great question. But me personally, Deion's not a motivator. He's prime time. He's just telling you how to get it done. Ray Lewis is a motivator because he had to work very hard to get where he was. Where I ain't gonna lie, the dude Deion was naturally gifted. This man just walked into the stadium and said, "I'm gonna get 2 interceptions." And I'm going to take them both back for a touchdown. I'm going to take this kick return. I'm going to take this punt return. And I'm going to bring it back to the end zone. And I'm going to laugh in your face and I'm going to dance in your face. Where Ray Lewis is like, man, I'm working hard. I'm getting stiff on Brady George, Ricky Lito, all these guys. And I got to play hard to get where I need to get. And that's why Ed Reed and Ray Lewis I think they're going to be a better motivator as a coach. But Deion Sanders just brings you your natural talent. He brings the natural talent out of you.
Yeah, because I remember just the one story from Ray Lewis is what I remember is he would every day when he was younger in high school or junior high, he would have 52 cards in a card pack, and he would just draw cards and he would do as many push-ups till that card pack's empty. So like he did that every day to motivate himself to be better. So
exactly where Deion Sanders is like, man, I woke up, ate a Snicker bars, and went to practice. Like that's Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? So it's like you got two different types. So if you got two different types, but if me personally, if I'm already very talented and I know I am, I'm gonna go Deion Sanders. But if I want someone to motivate me to be the best that I can be and get the best that I can be out of me, I think is Ray Lewis or an Ed Reed. Obviously, they're in a lower stature right now, so people are going to pick Deion Sanders because of his position and where he is. Who wouldn't go play for primetime right now? You know what I mean? Like it's just like who wouldn't go there right now? All eyes are going to be on him this next season coming up. But maybe it could. I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens with them both. He said, like, Ocho, go eat at McDonald's. This guy, I like you, Rob. You always come on here and you have great comments. But yeah, again, now that you're on here, Rob, this is perfect. We want to just give our last shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys have a happy holidays. Hope you guys have a happy new year. Me and Kirby are going to try to go live at least one more time this week before the new year so we can get one more in there before the new year ends. But obviously, we just want to say thank you guys, everybody who has been riding with us in this year, 2022. It's been a great year. We started up a couple months ago, but things have been, riding very smoothly with me and Curb. We're, starting to get the hang of this whole StreamYard stuff. We're starting to get the hang of, doing more, getting more people involved. We're trying to get our fans more involved, so please be active as much as possible. Me and Kirby are going to make a post very soon to get a fan on here with us to do a game show. Also, to get your guys' topics. We want to hear what you guys have to say for topics. We want to hear more about what our fans want to talk about. Also, we're going to try to get another guest on here really soon as well. Most likely that'll happen in the new year. So just be ready for that. All the new things that are coming in. Me and Kirby are here. We're going to be here for a very long time. Just be here for the ride. Thank you guys for coming in. Me and Kirby are going to try to go live one more time. We're going to talk about some of the bowl games that are going on for college. Talk about some of the NFL matchups this week. Do our weekly pick'ems and, get it going. So this is Dom. That's Curb. This is Live in the 315. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys have a great night. See you guys later. Peace.